Hey friends, what's good? Welcome to Story Time. So, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. My dogs are going to bark. This is a one-shot deal. I don't edit any of this stuff. And I happen to be sitting in a really nice spot today so you can see me. It's not a potato camera. But anyway, welcome. Welcome to my channel, you guys. So, today I wanted to tell a story about my trip in my car to go and watch my beautiful stepdaughter get married last weekend. It was such an adventure, and I had so much fun. And the main reason I had so much fun is because it was the first time I've done anything since Dave passed away. It was like the first trip that I'd been on in my brand new to me car. So I want to give you guys a bit of a story about all of what just happened. And, anyways, I'm so happy you're here. It's so beautiful. It's very hot right now, and it's absolutely perfect. It's a perfect summer day, and I have no complaints. Well, except for when my dogs itch the whole time they're sitting here. Sadie's got issues. She's been allergic to the world, like just severe allergies. It's driving me nuts. I've tried so many things. I've actually got a big tub of bath water waiting outside. It's getting heated up in the sun, and I'm going to throw her in it later. She has no idea. Well, she does have an idea because she keeps trying to hide. But yeah, she's having a bath today, no matter what. Aren't you? Are you going to have a bath today? You're not happy? Too bad. Anyways, you guys, I went and watched my stepdaughter get married on the weekend, and it was so beautiful because they got married in a big farmer's field in the backyard of the groom's parents, and it was just stunning. It was such a very comfortable, organic wedding, and it was beautiful. But to go back to the beginning, I want to tell you guys that when I moved here and I was living in the van, I couldn't for the life of me get the van to start. After I parked it over in my parking spot, that van did not want to start again. It was almost like it said, "No, I'm done. I've I've lived enough life. I've been around since 1986. I'm good. Let me go." So I took the van and I donated it to the Kidney Foundation. Dave was struggling with kidney disease, and it was kind of fitting just to send it off to a place like that where I could donate something of value to the Kidney Foundation. Hopefully, it went to good use. But after that, I was in this new rig because they brought me the new motorhome. And so I was in the new one and I was getting rides. I was always getting rides with my neighbors, and everybody was so gracious to constantly pick me up, drive me to places, take me for groceries. We went to church together in different people's vehicles and stuff. And it was wonderful. It was really nice to get to know my neighbors. And so one day I was just going for a walk and I spotted my neighbor with a brand new little Honda, like a Honda Fit. And it was a cute little car. And I looked at her and I goes, "Hey, nice wheels." I said, "That's a brand new car?" And she goes, "Yeah, my daughter just bought it for me." And I said, "Right on." And then she looked right at me and she said, "So do you need a car?" And I said, "Well, I financially, I can't get a car right now." I said, "I got to just kind of, get rides and do my thing." She goes, "No, you can have it." And I was like, "What?" So she gave me an '07 Jeep Compass. And the thing about this car was that she said there was nothing wrong with it. I mean, it was getting older. It was just that her daughter bought her a new one, so you can't really have two cars. What's the point? So she was so gracious and she gave me this car. And it took me months and months and months to save enough money to make sure I could go and get it insured, get some tires on it, and take care of all the things that it needed before I could drive it. But in the meantime, I kind of, piddled around in the neighborhood. I was testing it out, and there's nothing wrong with this car. Like, it's just an older Jeep Compass. And I was really, really excited because that meant that I live kind of far out of town. Well, probably not that far, but far enough that I can't walk to town. I'd have to get a cab or something, and it would cost a fortune. So for me to have wheels out here, it's so beautiful because now I'm not relying on all my neighbors. But I was really nervous because I thought I haven't done any traveling or anything like that for so long. And since I drove down here in the van and it just broke down where it sat, so I was kind of nervous about, taking this car anywhere. But I was reassured when I went to get my oil changed. Like I saved up money from my job and I did everything I could to get my new tires on, fill it up with fuel, get the oil changed, and get all the lube oil filters. Everything was tested. They tested everything out for me to make sure that it was a good vehicle to get me from A to B. So I only had to go about, I think the return trip was like 700 kilometers. And the guy said, "No, I think you're good to go." So I was just relying on people that were looking after me to say, "Yeah, you'll be fine." So I proceeded to pack that car up, prepare it with, blankets and get everything ready because I had used up so much of my money for the car that I decided I'm not going to spend money on a hotel. I'm just going to go in the car and sleep wherever I can park. And because I'm so used to living wherever, I figured it would be just fine, and it was fine because I got to pull into to the farm, and park right in the field, and it was the most incredibly beautiful, like wall to wall farmland, and then just sky, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So I knew I was in the right spot, and I was the only person staying on the lot, on the property, in their car for the night. Everyone else would be in the main house. And I was totally fine with that because the dogs are, they had dogs, and I just wanted to make sure everybody was comfortable. So I packed everything and I was so prepared. When I headed out though, I the nerves, like I had so much nerves because I was like, please just get me up these mountain passes. I had to go across some big mountain passes and, you know, long highways of 120-kilometer speed limits, and I'd never done over 90 in this little car. And I'll tell you, that car, it just did great. It got me all the way there. I parked and I gave it a break for the night, and it got me all the way home. But in the meantime, I decided I was gonna, get everything prepared for sleeping, and I made some mistakes because I had packed so many nice big cushy blankets and a foam mattress and all that stuff, but I forgot to put, at least half of what I wanted to put down before I put the mattress down. So then in the middle of the night, I was laying there and I was in pain because it was the most uncomfortable, because not because it was uncomfortable, but because I have these two dogs. This one sleeps under the blanket, so she's usually not a problem. Tuck goes on top and he's 30 pounds and I cannot move him. So I'm trying to get comfortable, trying to readjust. And it's one of those cars where the passenger seat comes all the way down flat. So you've got like 6 feet of this side and then the rest is 5 feet, or, so I'm sleeping sideways and crooked. And I think I pulled my neck out. And in the middle of the night, it got so cold. And had I put all those extra blankets underneath, I probably wouldn't have felt all of this cold. But it was so uncomfortable for about 2.5 hours that I just laid there, staring into space, thinking my neck was hurting and my back was hurting, everything was hurting. But I know what to do for the next time. I'm definitely going to bring a thicker mattress and I'm going to prepare it so that the dog, especially Tuck, has his own bed because he's got his own little big, like round bed. It's going to go in the corner where he can't be in my way on my feet. But anyway, aside from that, what a glorious place to wake up. Like I opened the hatch up and there's just farmers fields and blue sky and the sun had come up, and there's my brand new, my son-in-law coming out the door with, he's like, "Do you want a cup of coffee?" And I was like, "Yes, I do. I need coffee." So I was able to have my coffee out there and enjoy a whole bunch of time with just the bride and groom and my granddaughter Jade, who's about 4, and she called me grandma for the first time this weekend, and that was beautiful because Dave and I lived on the road a lot and we didn't get to see the family much. And so I hadn't seen her for a long time. And for her to call me grandma, oh, hit my heart. It was so nice. And it probably helped that I brought a whole bunch of gifts because I'd been accumulating gifts for the past year, year and a half. And I said, no, when I see you, I'm bringing all the presents. So she was very happy about that, but more happy just to spend time with grandma. So we got to go for walks. We walked to the cemetery, which seems to be a spot Jade liked to walk to. So that was really neat. She told us all about the cemetery, and we talked about unicorns, and we talked about, fairies, and it was so beautiful to just be with somebody that little and listen to all the neat stuff she had to say. And it was beautiful to be with my stepdaughter. She's grown up to be such a wonderful woman, and her husband is wonderful. Their whole family is so gracious too. Like just seeing everybody it was just wonderful. And I don't want to see people at funerals anymore. Let's see more weddings, more babies being born. I don't like this whole, everybody dying stuff. It sucks. But anyways, so I managed to have an incredible trip. I went way off my macros and my diet. I did walk and stuff, but I just decided doesn't matter. I stopped and got fries with gravy, and I had some coffee, and I had a donut. It was so fun. And the dogs have never traveled well. They've always, frothed at the mouth and had such issues with traveling. And this was the one of the nicest trips I'd ever made with the dogs. And they might bark because a car is going to go by, so hang on. So they did really well because each of them had their own window, and the car has baby proof windows, so I could lock them. So you lock them at this point, and when you're going down the highway and they're like making that crazy noise, I just had to put them up a little bit, and these dogs were content with being in the back seat. Sadie used to cry and cry. I don't know how she did it. She used to ride on the back of my Harley, never made a sound, loved it. Get her in the car, she's crying and frothing and going crazy. But this was the best trip I'd had with the dogs in a vehicle in a long time, and it was so worth it. I had so much fun. But in the past 3 or 4 days, my neck has been out, so I could barely work. I just finally went back to gardening yesterday, and told my boss, and he was so concerned. He's like, "Are you okay? Are you, you're not having a blood pressure problems or a stroke?" And I go, no, I just pulled my neck out, and it's making my brain a little foggy. So it was so fun because now I know this car will go wherever I want to take it. And there's a few things I got to do. My sway bars are starting to go, so I'll get those fixed as soon as I can because that squeak is really annoying. But as time will tell, it'll be a good car again. It'll be back up to speed because one thing Dave always used to say is that it doesn't matter what your car's age is. There's cars on the road from the 20s and 30s that still run, and they're beautiful. 40s and 50s and 60s. You can run any car, you just have to take care of it. So, unless it's a complete rust bucket, which this one is not yet, I'm able to get this thing, in tip top shape for the next trip. And I'm really looking forward to that. So I don't know where it's going to be, but now that I know I can take the dogs and they're going to be okay and we can sleep in it with comfort, I'm really happy about that. So that was my weekend. Did you guys have a good weekend? I don't know, marriages and weddings and stuff. It was kind of bittersweet because I went to the wedding with a shirt that Dave owned, and I put the shirt on the chair, and he got to kind of be there in spirit, and it was really beautiful. I tried not to cry too much. Everybody really held it together really well. So anyway, I'm so blessed, and I'm so blessed that I got this car from my neighbor. It's just been so wonderful to be able to get up and go somewhere if I need to, and to feel safe, and that's a really big deal. Plus, I've had BCAA for like 20 years, so I'm going to keep that rolling. Always have BCAA. Anyway, you guys have a great weekend and take care, and God bless, and thanks for hanging out. I know this is just a random story, but it's how it's going to be. I'm kind of in that mode right now where I don't really know what I want to talk about, but every once in a while I'll just come up with something. So that was my wedding weekend. Anyway, have a great day, guys. God bless.